Welcome guys to another StarCraft replayer sent in by the community, and this one it's gonna be a TVP. Let's introduce our players. Here on the top left we got Bryce, rhymes with rice, doesn't smell like lice, doesn't taste like a mice. I don't know, just trying to make a rhyme out of that one just in time. But it is gonna be the probes being warped on in very quickly as much as you can. Con boost available, not really using it because he is going to be supply blocked in just a bit. No pylon at the start. Oh, it's going to be on the outside. So welcome guys to Cyberforest LE. I've been seeing this map lately. I think it's one of the newer maps in the map pool. So it's actually really nice to look at. I love the ramp area. But anyway, on the bottom right, we got FalSe. And what is this? It's gonna be a proxy Daks ready to go here for FalSe. So maybe, just maybe, he's pretending that he's playing standard. But the fact that this barracks here is not by the ramp gonna be a big little warning sign for Bryce and his endeavors. The probe and the SCV now fighting along. So Bryce really just patrolling around, trying to see as much as he can around the base where this barracks is. So really a big exclamation point right now on what Bryce is going to be expecting in just a bit. He hasn't walled in, however, and he is going to go for a Nexus first. So with the gateway opening, he doesn't really have any means to defend himself in terms of, static defense. Might be a little dangerous as a Reaper is now coming here from FalSe onto the second base. Pylon now being built up, and the Zealot gonna be having a hard time if it ever warps in the first place. A lot of probes though here in the main mineral line might be picked off one by one. It all depends on how FalSe is gonna play this. And finally Bryce sees what's coming. He notices the proxy barracks, but the Reaper is already coming on out. And let's see the jetpack give chase to this probe. Unfortunately, trying to just block that one out with the pylon. Interesting placement here for Bryce. Gonna go for the cancel. A little bit of a waste of minerals. And now FalSe just bothering the production line here for Bryce. A second gateway being built, and we have a Zealot chrono boosted on out. But again, not really gonna be the best time. FalSe though, Reaper surrounded. Beautiful engagement there from Bryce. The cluster bomb too late to the party, and that is gonna be the Protoss able to survive. Now after that proxy barracks opening failing FalSe, he's gonna fly that barracks all the way back into his base, keep it safe. And he's going to be building up a tech lab here for the factory. So upgrades for the Terran a little later than expected thanks to the cheesy opening. But in the end, we are going to get a reset and we are going to get a standard game. That was a really good surround there from Bryce. Just noticing FalSe was holding position. Got the probes on. The blue Terran could have gotten the cluster bomb a little earlier than expected. But unfortunately for him, just too late to the trigger finger. And it is now going to be a second base being run here by Bryce. FalSe honestly in a pretty dangerous scenario. You never want to see a Protoss player ahead in bases, ahead in the economy, because those units always top tier with the turtle with the 200. Now Bryce gonna give FalSe a taste of his own medicine, looking to go for a proxy pylon on the third base. Just hiding it on the side so far, keeping it cheeky as much as possible. We do have a Cyclone though, and it's gonna go for a quick little lock on, gets a takedown onto the poor probe. That is gonna be robotic scrap, unable to be used anymore. Orbital command now being built up for the second base. We do see the mules working in production here for FalSe, and he does have the 111 reactor tech onto the barracks. So this is gonna be double pump marines for the defense, potentially a bunker in the later stages. So now warp gates are gonna be turned into from gateways. We have 3 adepts actually warping on in, and this might be the shades of gray that we're looking for. Bryce looking to be on the attack. On the flip side, FalSe gonna go for a Cyclone and the Viking to try and poke around this ramp. Might be a pretty bad fight here for FalSe, because Bryce having those 2 Stalkers, a Sentry or 2, as well as that 1 Zealot, but the lock on in full force, the Stalker forced to back on out, and gonna be a reset here for both parties. Now with FalSe knocking on the doorstep of the Protoss, here comes Bryce. Gonna bring in the Shades. The Marines spot that one out. And the supply depot gets up in time. Beautiful timing there from FalSe, putting the Adepts in a bad spot. But unfortunately for him, no one to follow that one up. You would have expected he would have just encaged them in the first place. But now, these Adepts taking care of the Vespene farmers. Front line though here for Bryce under attack. And here we go again, force fields into play. Beautiful placements with those force fields, but FalSe having the advantage, has a really good tanky front line. The Cyclones are protected. The Stalker though gets the shot just in time, but the 2 Vikings and the 4 make that 6 Marines, making it magic work. So the Immortals are coming into play, gonna be very strong against these Vikings. The warp in just completely cancelled, and this is gonna be Bryce in a pretty bad spot because the shots are coming. He has only 1 pylon left to power all this up. The Robo facility actually gonna get shut down as a very big hit because he needed those Immortals in the first place, and we see a reinforcement wave here for the Blue Terran. On the flip side, the Adepts are just hitting on that Vespene refinery. Not really too useful so far. Chron Boost comes on out, and here comes the first Immortal. But seems like Bryce just putting too many eggs in one basket. The Immortal now dropping the barrier, trying to stay alive, and it seems like this one unit has turned the tide of battle in favor of the Protoss. FalSe though, beautiful attack, shutting down the Robo facility, getting more value out of the attack than he should have, and he finally is able to clean up the Adepts as well, but this poor secondary base has already gotten hurt quite a lot. Looking at the units lost tab, a lot of units there lost by Bryce, 2,000 minerals worth, and you can see just the advantage taken here by FalSe as he has gotten the reset ongoing. Unfortunately for Bryce, he wasn't able to get any assimilators up in time to get some more gas. He had to pull some probes to defend that base to a T, and now he is forced to just wait on in the backside. Now FalSe looking to get that third, but the Adept already in position after the warp on in from the proxy pylon, and here we go again. So much proximity fights here between FalSe and Bryce. It seems like with the Terran popping that first salvo, Bryce just gonna give chase in the same manner. Siege tank though into play here for FalSe. Beautiful placement, getting a really big radius by the ramp. But the Adepts now to the back line. The Marines gonna go for the rotate. The Adepts still are great against these gunners. So let's see if it is gonna be enough. Some good hits here from the Adepts, getting some damage done, just hampering the production line. But in the end, it doesn't really get too much. This one Adept staying alive finally falls to the duo, and we do see another hush in the battlefield. Interesting to note, FalSe hasn't cancelled up this command center. Bryce hasn't sent anything in. And now, here we go, with the scout, spots out the pylon, and this should be a move on out here from the Blue Terran to just get rid of that one. Stem pack being upgraded to make these Marines even more useful. And look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 racks into play. We are going to see a big ball of action. So it seems like the starport double pumping those medevacs. We are gonna see the drop plays as well as the healing onto the infantry. One of them warped on in just to bother this SCV. Make that 1 hit, make that 2 hits, and the 3rd time's a charm. Couldn't get that +1 though to make it more potent against the SCV in the first place. But now we are gonna see +1 here through the double engineering base. The medevacs giving chase, forcing the Adept on out, and finally this proxy pylon gonna go down. FalSe spotting that one out, sees no lies here, gonna be able to get a 3rd. Now in the meantime, we haven't really been checking up on the Protoss. He finally has the cojones to actually come on out and go for a 3rd. The last time I saw a pylon here, he had to cancel it after trying to juke out that Reaper. Unfortunately for that one probe, the Reaper of course can just fly really quickly with those jetpacks. I like this though from Bryce. He has an observer into play, spots out the bulk of the army coming his way, scans now coming on out here from FalSe as well as he is supply block. So a rotation from the Red Protoss. He does need to warp in a few more units though. Maybe some Immortals will really help here into this fight. Oh no, it's gonna be the Colossus. Let's see if this is gonna burn up those Marines. And I actually like the tech switch. The Immortals are good against the Vikings, the Cyclones, as well as the Siege tanks. But against the Marine Marauders, you really need those Colossi to just burn up the atmosphere. Siege Tank though getting some value, hitting the pylon, with by proxy hitting the Nexus point and getting the damage done. Now with this other Siege Tank just gonna force the Immortal to come on out. Here comes the engagement, but this is actually a very bad engagement here for Bryce. Gonna go for the force fields to stay alive. Without those, that would have been game over outright. He needs to be in a defensive position. Very, very dangerous right now here between these two players. One false move might end up in the favor of the other. And here we go. The Colossus now protected in the backline. The Immortal burning on up against that Siege Tank. And here we go with the hits. But look at that stim pack on in. FalSe looking to go for a quick little drop play as well. Trying to get some few players in. But it is just going to be the Marines coming on out. Going for the push. Taking care of the bulk of the army. And this should be easy pickings here for FalSe onto that third. Balls deep. In complete confidence there from the blue Terran. Here comes the probe pull, but these probes are just gonna be regretting the day they were created. He needed really one more Colossi just to clean up against the Marine Marauder ball, but unfortunately for him, unfortunately for Bryce, he waited on and he went on the outside. He was waiting here by the lower part of the ramp instead of just defending a second and giving up the third. So it is what it is. Bryce now in desperation mode. This is an emergency button for any Protoss. Just a warp on in on the medley of units. The Viking though getting clear shots on the right hand side. Beautiful position here coming out from FalSe, getting some free shots, breaking the shields. The two Colossi now getting in position. Very dangerous here for the Marines. Here comes the shots, here comes the action. One of the Colossus falls, and here comes the second. This should be game. Bryce doesn't have any more material in the bank to make another Colossus. Who really needed those to stay alive, and the Giraffes are hunted down to impunity. FalSe taking the victory. Beautiful tech switch there from FalSe. Moving over to the bio ball. Bryce too late with the tech switch, only having one Colossus ready and taking a really, really bad fight. But a good back and forth. I love the proxy play from both the Adepts as well as the Reaper opening. It is what it is though, and that's gonna be a game. Thank you for the replay sent in by FalSe. And if you want to be featured, just hit me up at gamesarepool@gmail.com. Till then, I'm Daks, and I'll see you guys in the next one.